People whose moms are Karens, what was the worst thing she's ever done? It's not that she's done just one, super, terrible thing, it's that it's a pattern of poor behavior and whining. I don't go to restaurants with my mom anymore because she just has no manners. Asking for the temperature in the restaurant to be adjusted, complaining about a water spot on her silverware, snapping her fingers to get the waitstaff's attention, being generally rude to them, looking for things wrong with her meal so she can complain to the manager and get a discount etc. And it's not just restaurants. She actually wants to write a book that's essentially about how to complain enough that you get free/discounted items at hotels, grocery stores, through Amazon, with your phone bill, etc. She's proud of this behavior. She didn't get her way when trying to return something, so held her arms straight out to the side while walking out so a whole bunch of stuff fell to the floor. It was a clothing store, so nothing broke, but it was still mortifying, and I could never shop there again. I hope all of your Karens run into each other in the wild as opponents. Years ago, I was at the mall with my mom and my sister. There was this pretzel place across from the food court that sold lemonade. We went to the pretzel place and bought 3 lemonades, then we went across the hall to the food court to get pizza. We sat down and began eating. The lemonade was not very good. Whatever, not a big deal, my sister and I were thirsty, so we drank it anyway. My mother did not drink hers and complained the entire time. After we finished our pizza, my mother dragged us back over to the pretzel shop and demanded a full refund for all 3 lemonades. The cashier was very polite and refunded her lemonade since she didn't drink any of it, but, rightfully, did not refund the lemonades that my sister and I drank. This was not good enough for my mother and she proceeded to pitch a hissy fit. I am so relieved that this all took place before cell phones, because otherwise we'd have videos of lemonade Karen circulating all over the damn internet. The cashier offered coupons, but did not refund the lemonades that my sister and I drank. By this point, my sister and I were thoroughly embarrassed and begging our mother to just drop it and leave. Finally, she did. She spent the entire car ride home yelling at us because we drank our lemonades and this apparently made her look like an idiot. Sent a steak back 3 times, was perfectly cooked all 3 times. I don't got out to dinner with her anymore. Abrisina. When I was younger there were signs. I remember her changing my sister's diaper on the restaurant table and getting mad at people for judging her. That was a common thing. And when that person is your mother you know who she's venting to about it. You. I would say the worst thing she's done though might not be Karen but like, Karen Extreme or something. When I gave birth my mom was externally entitled to my baby. Like it wasn't my husband's and my baby. But hers and mine. It got so bad she started asking if she could breastfeed my daughter. Like I swear to God that became a regular conversation. I had to stop letting her babysit because I wasn't sure if she actually was trying. Every single conversation was how she did so much for me and it was so wrong I was denying her access to her baby. She got so mad, entitled, jealous that she literally sued me. Her own daughter. For grandparent rights. And while she lost in the end. She was granted temporary partial custody for several weeks. Unsupervised custody. Now it doesn't end there. Because she no longer had access to my baby. You know what she did? She got pregnant. That's the kind of entitlement and jealousy she has. I was 18 and dealing with cancer in my right leg. I had to have serial casting because my knee joint was frozen from being on crutches for several months. The first cast was put on the day before Thanksgiving and was a full leg cast, hip to toes. The technician stretched my leg too much, and after a few hours, I was in complete agony. My dad tried to cut it off with a hand saw, but couldn't because it was fiberglass. The tech agreed to meet us at his office on Thanksgiving Day to cut it off. As we were waiting in the parking lot for him, my loving mother turned to me and said, "I hope you realize that you've ruined Thanksgiving." She then warned me not to tell my dad that she said that. She was my primary caregiver, so I never told my dad for fear she would take it out on me. Needless to say, we're not close, and I forgot to call her on Mother's Day. My mom complained to the manager at a restaurant that our waitress was incredibly rude, she wasn't, and dismissive, she wasn't. The manager informed us that she had severe autism and was in fact doing an amazing job and in the politest possible terms told my mom to fuck off. The rest of us tipped big that day. When I was about 11 or 12 I got a science award and a number 2 student of the grade award. I had the second best grades, at the end of the school year and my mother was outraged that I got 2 and my twin sister didn't get an award. She went to the school and raised hell so they created a new category and gave her a music award. It was embarrassing for all of us at the ceremony including my sister and everyone knew what had happened, since she got her invitation to the award ceremony a few days after the rest of us. It was so insignificant in the grand scheme of things. Awards for 11 yos. I only remember it because my Karen mom's actions made me feel like it was my fault that my sister didn't get anything, that my own achievements weren't important. Plus the amount of stress watching her get angry and go scream at the school people and embarrass us made this a core, and awful, memory/trauma. My grandparents came to visit after we moved out of state. My grandpa forgot his various prescriptions. My grandma went to the local pharmacy and threw a fit when they wouldn't just provide pills from a handwritten list. She threw such a fit the police had to come and trespass her. The last time it was brought up, my grandma still blamed the pharmacist for the interaction. This is just one of many such interactions. My mother, years ago now, was acquainted with the local McDonald's owner who lived down the street. They used to complain constantly at how expensive the ketchup and sauce packets were, apparently. Anyways, one day my mother asked for extra ketchup when picking up dinner for our family of 5. They gave her a small bag chock full of ketchup. My mother wrote down the kid's name and later called the owner and ratted him out for wasting money on ketchup. She is proud of this or regularly tells people about it. Even to this day, we don't really talk anymore. My grandfather, my mother and myself went to a chain restaurant for a cheap takeout dinner. I was maybe 6 years old. She asked for an extra container of gravy. They rang it up and charged something like 40 cents for the 200 milliliters of gravy. She lost it. She didn't start by asking if the price had gone up. It hadn't. She just launched straight into berating a teenager over literal pennies while she was buying $1.50 worth of fast food chicken. My grandfather and I were standing by the ketchup and straws. He leaned over and said, "You see what she is doing? Never do that." He later explained that firstly, it's an incredibly trashy, rude thing to do. Secondly, it's a surefire way to eat spit and boogers. It's far from her worst offense, but it's the first one that really stuck with me. My mom isn't the Karen. My dad is. He would routinely insist we get seated at restaurants because he felt he'd waited long enough and they were ignoring us. He'd throw enough of a fit that they'd do it every time. Then he'd email corporate and complain again. He probably does this because he has severe anxiety he chooses not to work on, and because crowds and standing in line are big triggers for him, but he genuinely thinks he is being mistreated every time. It's upsetting. I live across the country from him now. My mill is a cheap, hard-to-please Karen, especially at restaurants. I've stopped going if she's there. She complains about everything. Every trip she ever goes on, she has a story about a run-in she had with a flight attendant or a gondola operator, for real. It's always them. Never her. Would take 20 minutes in the deli line until the slicer got her deli cut sliced precisely the exact right way. Just, slice nope. Too thin. Slice too thick. Slice again. Got into a heated racist argument with the dentist and receptionist in front of all the other customers. My mother used to scream so much at my little league coach that we got banned from the fields. She hated that he would bench me and let other kids enjoy playing. I was good, but God, I hated playing sports. Funny thing is, my favorite moments in Little League were hanging out in the dugout joking and singing Spice Girls while the game was going on. My best friend's sister is named Karen and she tried to burn her parents' house down because her parents didn't want to pay for her breast augmentation surgery.